Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time we're diving deep into someone I bet you've all heard of, Leonardo da Vinci.
Ah, Leonardo da Vinci.
You sent over some really cool stuff about him, and get this, we're going way beyond the Mona Lisa today.
Okay.
We're going to get into the mind of a true Renaissance man. The art, the inventions, the mysteries. We're going for those aha moments that make da Vinci, well, even more fascinating.
You know, what I think is so striking about Da Vinci is how he really embodies that Renaissance man ideal.
Right.
I mean, he wasn't just a painter.
Right.
He was a sculptor, an inventor, an engineer, you name it.
Yeah, it's that boundless curiosity that gets me.
Yeah.
Like, how do you become an expert in all these different things? And that's something that just keeps us intrigued.
Yeah.
You know, even after all these years, right?
Absolutely.
It's like he was the original multi-hyphenate, right? Like, how would we describe him today?
Totally. Yeah.
And to think he didn't even have, like, a traditional last name. He was simply Leonardo from Vinci, the town where he was born.
Just Leonardo.
And what's even more wild is that he did all of this with, like, a super unusual upbringing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, born out of wedlock, raised mainly by his father, very little formal education.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, his self-taught mastery across so many disciplines is just, it's mind-blowing.
It really is. Think about it. He didn't have the structured education systems we have today, but he still had this incredible drive to just learn and explore on his own.
Yeah.
That takes a special kind of genius, you know?
Totally. And talent, obviously.
Of course.
And speaking of that, you know, there's that great story about his father recognizing his artistic gift early on.
Oh, right, with the shield.
Yeah, it all started with a painted shield. Right?
Yes. So the story goes that Leonardo's father asked him to paint the shield. And the image he created, like this terrifying mythical beast, it was so powerful that his father was able to sell it for a really good price.
Wow.
Which is interesting because it almost foreshadows how, even with his immense talent, Da Vinci struggled financially throughout his life, you know?
Yeah, it really makes you think about the challenges artists faced back then. You know,
yeah.
talent alone wasn't always enough.
For sure.
But let's get back to his early years for a sec.
Okay.
There's that pivotal apprenticeship, right, with Andrea del Verrocchio,
Right.
one of the top artists in Florence. And of course, we have to talk about the story about the Baptism of Christ painting and the angel that supposedly made Verrocchio give up painting forever.
Oh, yeah, that one. So the detail about the angel's eyes is really key here.
Okay.
So Verrocchio painted most of the Baptism of Christ, right? But Leonardo, as an apprentice, he painted one of the angels.
Right.
And when Verrocchio saw the life, the depth that Leonardo was able to bring to the angel's eyes, he was so humbled, or so the story goes, that he vowed to never paint again.
Wow.
Now, whether that's completely true or maybe it's been embellished a little bit over time,
Right.
it really speaks volumes about Leonardo's talent at such a young age.
Yeah.
It wasn't just technical skill, right? He had this unique ability to give his work emotion and soul.
It's like he was already a master in the making, even back then.
Totally.
And this, of course, brings us to his early career
Okay.
and some of the, you know, challenges that he faced,
Uh-huh.
even with all that genius.
Right.
I mean, Leonardo's perfectionism, which in a way is admirable, right? It led to so many unfinished commissions.
Yeah.
That must have been frustrating for the people who hired him.
I know, right? Imagine commissioning a portrait and having to wait years for it to be completed because the artist is constantly striving for perfection.
Yeah, exactly.
His slow pace and constant experimentation, it didn't always sit well with those wealthy patrons, you know?
I bet. And he even worked for Lorenzo de' Medici, the ruler of Florence,
Oh, wow.
and was part of the Platonic Academy. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
This incredible circle of Renaissance giants,
Right.
like Michelangelo and Botticelli.
Yeah.
But even there, surrounded by all that talent, Da Vinci didn't quite reach the heights you might expect, right? Why was that?
Well, it seems like, as we've been talking about, his constant need to kind of push boundaries and try new techniques, while admirable, it often caused delays, right?
Yeah, he wasn't just content with simply finishing a piece.
Right.
He was always searching for something more, a deeper truth within his art. So it was that drive for perfection that may have held him back in some ways.
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it? His relentless pursuit of excellence led to both these masterpieces and, at the same time, all these unfinished projects.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
He eventually moved to Milan,
Okay.
where he caught the attention of the Duke Ludovico
Yeah.
Sforza by, get this, actually finishing some portraits.
He finished them.
He did. And that opened the door to one of his most famous works, The Last Supper.
Oh, The Last Supper.
The Last Supper is, well, it's more than just a religious painting, right?
Oh, sure.
It's a masterpiece of, like, psychological drama and artistic innovation. Yeah. It's located in the Santa Maria delle Grazie Refectory in Milan.
Okay.
And it captures the exact moment when Jesus tells his disciples that one of them will betray him.
Oh.
The material you sent over really brings this scene to life. You know, you can almost feel the shockwaves going through the room as Jesus makes that announcement.
Totally.
Talks about the frantic energy of the apostles, their disbelief, their confusion. And then contrasted with that is Jesus' like calm acceptance.
Right.
It's all there in their expressions, their body language.
Exactly.
It's just the details that make this painting so captivating.
It is the details, isn't it? You have the apostles, they're grouped in these dynamic clusters, right?
Right.
Their gestures and expressions show this whole range of emotions. Fear, anger, confusion, doubt.
Right.
And even their hand gestures, they're symbolic.
Oh, how so?
Well, on Jesus's left, the hands point outwards, so maybe a visual representation of rejecting his message, while on the right, the hands point upward, possibly symbolizing acceptance of his divinity.
Wow. It's like Da Vinci was trying to convey not just the event itself,
Right.
but also like the emotional and spiritual turmoil of that moment. Right. And of course, then there's Judas, the betrayer.
Yeah.
Right. He's kind of hidden in shadow, clutching his bag of silver.
Oh, right.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. Okay.
Okay.
The material talks about a hidden musical score
Wait, what?
within the painting.
No way.
Yes. It's wild. So if you look closely at the positions of the apostles' hands
Okay.
and the bread on the table, apparently they form a musical notation.
Really?
And when you play it, it creates this haunting melody, but with a discordant note right at Judas's place.
No way. That's incredible.
It's another example of Da Vinci's like multifaceted genius, right?
It really is.
Blending art, symbolism, and even music.
Wow. He was hiding secret messages within his art. That's amazing.
And the mysteries, they don't stop there, okay?
Oh.
Why is it daytime in the painting? And why isn't the food on the table like a traditional Passover meal?
Okay, yeah.
The source suggests that this might not actually be depicting the Last Supper itself,
What?
but rather a moment after Jesus' resurrection.
Wow, okay.
So maybe the apostles just haven't recognized the resurrected Christ yet, which explains their shock and confusion.
It adds a whole other layer of complexity and intrigue to the scene, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you question everything you think you're seeing.
Yeah.
And then there's that mysterious woman sitting next to Jesus.
Right.
Is it Mary Magdalene? The source goes deep on the visual clues their gaze is meeting. There's that subtle knife near the woman's hand. It's like a Renaissance Where's Waldo, but like with high stakes.
I love that.
And of course, we can't forget the physical challenges this painting has faced
Right.
over the centuries. You know, Da Vinci experimented with his paint mixtures,
Yeah.
which unfortunately led to the painting deteriorating over time.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then there's that hole in the wall where someone actually tried to steal Jesus's feet.
Oh my gosh. Talk about adding insult to injury.
Right. It's amazing that the Last Supper has survived it all, given its tumultuous history.
It really is.
But let's shift gears for a moment
Okay.
and talk about Da Vinci's life, outside of the art world.
Right.
His patron, Ludovico Sforza, he was eventually overthrown,
Oh, right.
which must have been a huge blow to Da Vinci's career.
Yeah, I bet.
So what did he do? Did he just pack up his paints and go home?
Well, not at all. Da Vinci was, like, incredibly adaptable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he found his way to Venice, and he put all that ingenuity to work as a military engineer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the source material goes into some of his projects,
Okay.
like designing fortifications, even coming up with ideas for underwater warfare.
Wow.
It's pretty wild. He was always innovating no matter what the situation.
It's amazing how he could go from painting masterpieces to, like, strategizing for war.
Right.
And it wasn't just like a short stint either.
Oh.
He actually spent a good chunk of his later years, as an advisor to rulers, military leaders.
Really?
Yeah, they actually sought out his input,
Wow.
which I think really says something about his reputation.
It really does. Rulers back then, they recognized that Da Vinci wasn't just an artist.
Right.
He was a brilliant mind, period.
Yeah.
Someone who could offer valuable insights in engineering, architecture, even military strategy.
It makes you wonder what he would be doing if he were alive today.
I know, right?
What field would he be dominating? Would he be a tech CEO, a cutting-edge architect, a rocket scientist?
Possibilities are endless.
I know. But let's get back to his art for a moment.
Okay.
It's fascinating that for all his genius, Da Vinci only left behind a relatively small number of completed paintings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like only 13 confirmed works.
13.
That's it.
Wow. That's crazy considering all his talent and how long his career was.
You'd think there'd be hundreds, right? The source material highlights this too. It's not like he was just doodling in his spare time.
Totally.
This was his life's work.
Exactly.
So why so few finished pieces?
Well, I think it goes back to that relentless pursuit of perfection we were talking about earlier, right?
Okay.
Da Vinci wasn't satisfied with just finishing a painting. He was constantly experimenting, revising, always trying to achieve a level of realism and depth that just went beyond anything anyone had seen before.
It's a huge contrast to someone like Picasso, who produced an enormous body of work, right?
Totally.
Both obviously left an incredible mark on art history, but their approaches were just completely different.
Yeah, it just goes to show that there are so many paths an artist can take,
Right.
and there's no single way to find success.
But speaking of unique approaches, we can't forget about Da Vinci's famous mirror writing,
Oh, yeah?
right? He wrote everything backwards, from right to left.
It's wild. What was that all about? Was he just messing with people?
Well, the source mentions a couple of really intriguing theories.
Oh.
Some believe he was intentionally trying to keep his ideas secret, right?
Okay.
So make it harder for anyone to steal his inventions.
Oh, like a Renaissance-era patent protection. That's actually pretty clever.
Right. But here's the thing. The source also says that Da Vinci could read normally. So why go through the trouble of writing backwards if it wasn't just for secrecy?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Leads to another theory,
Okay.
that mirror writing was simply his natural way of thinking and processing information.
Oh, interesting.
Right. Maybe it was actually easier for him to write that way, being left-handed.
Yeah,
Gives us a little peek into how his mind worked,
I like that.
And then there is legendary notebooks
The notebooks.
filled with inventions, flying machines, submarines, even a prototype for a robot.
Wow.
It's crazy how he conceived of these things, like centuries before they actually became reality.
It's like he was a time traveler.
I know, right? And his anatomical drawings are equally as impressive.
Yeah, they're incredible. He was so detailed.
And you mentioned before, he dissected over 30 bodies in his lifetime.
He did, over 30 years. Talk about dedication.
That must have been super risky back then, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Wasn't messing with dead bodies like a big no-no for the church?
Huge no-no. Dissection was a taboo subject back then, definitely, often linked with heresy and witchcraft.
Wow.
But Da Vinci's thirst for knowledge, it pushed him beyond those societal boundaries.
Really?
He didn't just want to paint the human form. He wanted to understand it on a much deeper level.
Right.
Its structure, its muscles, its inner workings.
And you can see that level of anatomical detail in his paintings, right?
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
The way he captured the musculature and tendons in the hands of the apostles in the Last Supper, for example.
Yeah.
It's a testament to how deep his knowledge of anatomy actually was.
It's that fusion of art and science that makes him so revolutionary.
I agree.
But what happened to all those notebooks?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you'd think they'd be, carefully preserved in a museum somewhere.
You would think, right.
It's kind of a cautionary tale, actually. So Da Vinci left all of his notebooks to his pupil, Francesco Melzi.
Okay.
But then Melzi's son, he ended up selling them.
Oh, no.
I know, scattering Da Vinci's legacy to the winds.
That's so sad. It makes you realize how easily precious knowledge can be lost over time.
It really does.
But thankfully, there's a bit of a happy ending to the story.
Oh, good.
Bill Gates, of all people,
Bill Gates?
stepped in and started buying up as many of Da Vinci's notebooks as he could.
Wait, Bill Gates, like the tech guy?
The one and only.
That's wild.
He's actually played a huge role in preserving and digitizing Da Vinci's work,
Wow.
making it accessible to a much wider audience.
That's pretty cool, actually.
It really is. It's a great example of how technology can be used to, safeguard our cultural heritage.
I wonder if Gates got any business inspiration from those sketches.
I know, right? Okay, but we can't wrap up this deep dive without talking about, the most iconic painting of all time.
Let's talk about it.
The Mona Lisa.
The Mona Lisa.
She's at the Louvre, attracting millions of visitors every year.
I know, she's a rock star.
She is. But what does the name even mean? Like, what is a Mona Lisa?
Well, it's actually a shortened version of Madonna Lisa,
Okay.
which in Italian means Lady Lisa.
So it's just Lady Lisa.
Pretty much.
Okay, but who is she?
Well, her true identity is still debated, but the most common theory is that she was the wife of a wealthy silk merchant named Francesco del Giocondo.
Okay, but the material you sent over mentions other possibilities.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, what if she was actually Da Vinci's mother?
Yeah. That's a really interesting theory,
Right.
especially when you consider Da Vinci's own upbringing and how he never knew his mother.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, pouring years of work into a portrait of the woman who gave you life,
Yeah.
a woman who basically remains a mystery to you.
It adds a whole other emotional layer to the painting, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's like he was trying to capture something way beyond just a physical likeness.
Hmm.
And that leads to another question.
What's that?
Why did it take him over 10 years to paint it? And why did he never sell it?
Yeah, that's not typical artist behavior.
I know. It definitely suggests a deep personal connection to the subject,
Yeah.
whoever she may be.
Yeah, maybe the painting was never really meant to be finished.
Oh, interesting.
You know, maybe it was an ongoing exploration of beauty, emotion, the mysteries of the human face.
That's a cool way to think about it.
And of course, we have that infamous smile.
Ah, yes, the smile.
What's the secret behind it?
What is it about that smile?
Well, first, I think it's important to remember that smiles, they just weren't that common in Italian portraits during that time.
Really?
Yeah, they were seen as frivolous, even a little unbecoming of noble subjects.
Wow.
So the fact that the Mona Lisa has this subtle smile, it makes it stand out right.
Right.
Creates this ambiguity, this intrigue that has fascinated viewers for centuries.
I remember reading somewhere that if you flip the image of the Mona Lisa, you see an alien.
An alien.
I know. It sounds crazy, but
Okay, I think we can probably leave the alien theories aside for now.
probably, yeah.
But it is interesting how that idea plays into Da Vinci's fascination with, mirror images and hidden meanings.
Yeah.
Maybe he was challenging us to look beyond the surface, to question our assumptions about what we're seeing,
Like, think outside the box.
Exactly, think outside the box just like he did.
Exactly.
And you know what else? We can't forget about Da Vinci's very unique approach to painting itself.
Oh, right.
Remember how you mentioned in your source material that he didn't believe in using hard outlines in portraits?
Yeah.
Because he thought it made people look two-dimensional.
And say he used a technique called sfumato, right?
Yes, sfumato.
Sfumato.
It's all about softening the edges, creating these subtle transitions between light and shadow.
Right.
Imagine looking at like a distant mountain range.
Okay.
The edges are hazy, they kind of blend into the sky.
Yeah.
That's sfumato.
Okay.
And it creates this incredible sense of depth and atmosphere. Da Vinci used this technique to give his subjects a more lifelike, almost ethereal quality, as if they were about to melt into the background.
And that's what makes the Mona Lisa so mesmerizing, right?
Totally.
You feel like she's both present and elusive at the same time.
Precisely. Like she's breathing, thinking right before your eyes.
Right in front of you.
And that's the magic of Da Vinci's art,
Yeah.
Just transcends time and it continues to captivate us, all these centuries later.
It really does. I mean,
Yeah.
It's incredible to think that one person, could accomplish so much in a single lifetime.
And remember, we've only just skimmed the surface here.
Right.
There's so much more to explore when it comes to Da Vinci's life and work.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, you mentioned how some of his anatomical drawings were so detailed that they were actually used to help authenticate his paintings centuries later.
It's like he was leaving clues for future generations to find.
No, right.
But, I think what's really stood out to me throughout this whole deep dive
Mm-hmm.
is Da Vinci's just insatiable curiosity. He wasn't content to specialize in just one field, you know what I mean?
Right.
He was constantly pushing those boundaries, blurring the lines between art, science, engineering.
He truly embodied the interconnectedness of knowledge.
Yeah.
That true innovation comes from embracing those multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
His anatomical studies, they weren't just for the scientific understanding.
Right.
They also informed his art, right?
Right.
Allowing him to portray the human form with just unprecedented accuracy.
And his engineering feats weren't just theoretical either.
Right.
They were rooted in his deep understanding of mechanics and natural forces,
Yeah.
which, of course, he also applied to his paintings and sculptures.
Exactly. It's that holistic approach to knowledge and creativity that makes him such an enduring figure. even today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think this deep dive, it's barely scratched the surface,
Oh, for sure.
but I hope it's kind of sparked a little bit of wonder in you
Yeah.
about Leonardo da Vinci.
What stood out to you the most?
Yeah, what was it?
Was it that hidden musical score in The Last Supper?
Yeah, was it the mirror writing?
Or maybe the possibility that the Mona Lisa is actually a portrait of his mother?
I mean, what do you think da Vinci would make of our world today,
Right.
with all of our technological advancements?
Yeah. Would he be at the forefront of AI,
Yeah.
designing self-driving cars?
Or would he be off exploring something totally new?
Yeah.
Something that we can't even begin to imagine yet?
It's amazing to think about.
It
And it
is.
really highlights Da Vinci's lasting impact, a man who, centuries after his death,
Right.
continues to inspire us all to think bigger,
Yeah.
to question our assumptions, and
Right.
to embrace the just boundless possibilities of human ingenuity.
I think that's a great place to end it.
Yeah.
So to everyone listening, we encourage you to keep exploring,
Yeah.
dive into Da Vinci's notebooks online.
You can find them.
Marvel at the detail in those anatomical drawings.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Or, if you ever get the chance, go see The Last Supper in person.
Oh, yeah.
It's a truly awe-inspiring experience.
It really is.
This has been another deep dive.
It has.
We'll see you next time.